As President Trump faces yet another political witch hunt, people like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, walking around unindicted despite their many suspected crimes and transgressions. Let's bring in Rudy Giuliani, former New York City and former personal attorney, New York City mayor and personal attorney to President Trump. He's also a former United States attorney for the Southern District of New York. Mr. Mayor, it's great to see you, sir. Welcome back. You're one of the few people who have actually seen the Hunter Biden laptop, which we know the FBI tried to cover up for years, according to the New York Post and numerous House investigations. How many indictable crimes aimed at Joe Biden and his family would you say exist on that laptop?
30, 40, including several different ways you could prosecute a racketeering case against him. One that I actually was able to put together before I had the hard drive, because I was investigating him for a year and a half, and giving the FBI information. Of course, they never followed up on anything I gave them, even a person whose life was in jeopardy. And they had the hard drive all during the time that I was giving them the information, and they were sort of treating me like, oh, I didn't know what I was talking about. It turns out that I had pretty much had it all, and then the hard drive gave me even more evidence and more crimes. So I would say, conservatively, you could legitimately divide it into about 30 or 40 separate crimes, or you could put it together in a couple of series of crimes as racketeering cases.
Okay, so let me ask you, what is preventing some enterprising conservative district attorney in, let's say, Texas or in one of the conservative states, maybe Florida, from following Mr. Bragg's example and going ahead and following an indictment on Joe Biden or his family members or on any of these other high-profile Democrats who have been swaggering around, thumbing their nose at the rule of law, presumably, like Barack Obama and others?
Well, I mean, the Biden regime has pretty much total control over the United States Attorney's Office through Garland. I mean, the United States attorneys are all appointed by President Biden. They got rid of everyone right away. They seem to have authoritarian control over them. I don't think any of them would have the courage to do it. And if they did, Garland would stop them in a second. There's no doubt.
Well, wait a minute. I'm talking about
that department.
I'm just talking about a DA. I mean, Alvin Bragg isn't under the jurisdiction of the Department of Justice. Yeah, so just some conservative DA from a small, they can get their hands on the Hunter Biden laptop, can't they?
I don't think they can, not in a way in which you can use it in court. I mean, they get a newspaper version of it, but I don't think they could get one that would give you chain of custody. It'd be hard to do. And the crimes are, I mean, you could work out some local crimes, state crimes. But just like Bragg is improperly trying to prosecute federal crimes in state court, these are mostly, and I'd have to go through them again, the serious ones are mostly federal crimes, like
well, you got to
bribery.
Know,
I mean, bribery.
Mr. Mayor, you got to know. I mean, with the Democrats, the rules are all out the window. You know, little local DAs can prosecute federal crimes now. It's all good, according to the Democrats. I mean, so the rules that everybody's been so consumed about, that the guardrails, they've all been thrown off. Look, I want to get onto something else because I'm really hoping that you have a comment on this. You might be familiar with a guy by the name of Trey Gowdy. He's a former congressman. He enraged conservatives last night on Fox. Yeah, listen to this.
This is not the first foray that our country has been through in terms of politicizing our justice system. I remember vividly listening to people chant, "Lock her up," and you can guess who her was, before an indictment, before a jury found her guilty, and then they chant the same thing about President Trump.
Mr. Mayor, you got to be kidding me. Is a Soros-funded
you gotta
DA
be kidding me.
sowing permanent division through abuse of his office the same as an average citizen chanting "lock her up" at a rally? Are those two at all similar?
No, not at all. And I have to say, it might be, I'm not sure of this, I might have been the first one to elicit that at the convention. And if I wasn't, I was the first one to get it on national television during my speech that I gave at the 16 convention. And I was actually not looking for it. I mean, it surprised me. The intensity of it surprised me. That was a spontaneous reaction. Nobody created it. It was a spontaneous reaction from the people to a case in which you would have to be a functional idiot not to realize that it was fixed by the FBI. I mean, that Comey hadn't completely corrupted himself.
There you go. You were talking about Mr. Mayor, you were talking about functional idiots, and then, of course, Comey popped into my brain. But look, if you'll address Trey Gowdy, because he is representative of these Republicans out there, like Mitch McConnell, John Cornyn, Mitt Romney, who see all of this abuse, and they're just like, oh, it's the same thing. Look, it's just like chanting "lock her up." That they have just as much disdain for conservatives. Yeah, go ahead, comment.
Yeah, I think they feel they have to even it up every time, which actually means they don't really have any sense of truth. They think truth is relative. So if they say something good about the conservatives, they got to say something good about the left wing, even if it isn't deserved. I mean, they're really playing to be all things to all people. And when you do that, you're really nobody. I mean, you stand for nothing. That was a totally ridiculous statement or comparison.
Thank you for saying that, because it was absolutely absurd. And I am jaw-droppingly astonished that Trey Gowdy went there. Look, we're told that the tentative plan is for President Trump to be arraigned this coming Tuesday at 2:15 in the afternoon. The NYPD has been put on high alert. I'm curious, have you talked to any current members of the PD about how they feel about being instruments of such a lawless man like Alvin Bragg?
Oh my goodness! For over a year. I wouldn't say that's all they talk to me about. They're not too happy about the mayor either, or the governor. Bragg, I mean, they have totally no respect for Bragg. And I've had more than a few say, "Tell the president we're with him." You know, the police union, for the first time in its history, endorsed Trump. First time they ever endorsed a presidential candidate was in 2020 when they endorsed Trump. So it is the bond between them is very, very strong. And it goes back to before he was running. He was always close to the police department, always making contributions when police officers were hurt, always going to functions of police officers. And I traveled with him, for 4 straight months in 16. And there was never a time, no matter what time it was at night, 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, that he wouldn't stop, go over to the police who had escorted us, and shake hands with every single one of them and take a picture. And it's for real. His connection to them is for real. It's not like you saw with Trey Gowdy, one side, the other side. It's for real. And he's a for real guy. He tells you what he really thinks, and it's the greatest attribute, and it gets him in trouble.
Mr. Mayor, it is always a pleasure catching up with you. Don't be a stranger. Rudy Giuliani, everybody. Thank you.